Welcome back to the next episode of Building with Whip. Today we have started the Great Pyramid here on our world, and we're going to keep working on going around this stuff. Kind of what I want to do today is, I know last episode we did a lot of talking, but we also did some high quality building, things like that. But today I really want to be talking with you guys about how we went ahead and kind of are changing the channel and where it's going to be going, just so you guys are in the loop more or less. And it's not going to be a huge change. It's basically what we're doing, but we're changing the way we're branding things. Because always on this channel, we've been pretty family friendly and everything like that. For example, like I went through and watched the last 20 or so episodes on the channel in general. And there's only profanity in 2, maybe 3 of the episodes, so I'm just going to start cutting that out completely and more branding ourselves as family friendly. But before we get into too much of that stuff, I do want to apologize for the last video. I tried a bunch of new things, and before hitting render, everything looked great, and then I rendered it and uploaded it, and it wasn't that great. So I'm really sorry about that, but more back into where the channel's going. Everything in the future, hopefully quality is going to be improving a lot. I'm changing up a few things again in this episode. Please in the comments let me know if it's better, if it's worse, whatever. If you guys really enjoy this video, hit that like button. If you hate it, hit that dislike button. I don't really care. Just do whatever you want. I enjoy making the videos. But yeah, so anyways, we're making an effort to move towards being family friendly. You don't really need, for me personally, I don't think you need to swear to get your point across. And maybe sometimes something slips out every now and then, but overall, we're going to be trying really, really hard here to be family friendly and working really hard to keep this a friendly environment that's based around learning and kind of building some cool things. Going on to where we're going to be moving more towards the learning side of things is I've always been really fond of coaching and things like that. For those of you that know me a little bit better, you'll know that I used to coach water polo. So I played for quite a few years, like we talked about in the Q&A. And then I coached afterwards, and that was something that I had so much fun doing. Do we want to do the red in here? Have we used the red before? I don't know. I kind of did this over here kind of as a test palette type thing going on. And I kind of like the idea of having some red in here. But anyways, so I've always really enjoyed coaching and what that's brought me and just kind of the friendships I've built. And I really enjoy working with people and trying to help them learn how to do whatever they're trying to do better, more or less. And so I really want to kind of bring that into here. And so we'll be starting a few new series kind of going off of that. The way I want to do it is more of using the building of structures in Minecraft to learn about the past. There's somebody I saw a long time ago on Planet Minecraft who actually was building all these giant ancient civilizations in order for, when his reasoning that he gave to the community at least was, when I have a family in the future, I want to be able to take my kid and walk around in these civilizations. And that always struck me as something really, really cool to do and really interesting. So what we're going to be trying to do here in our new upcoming series is building some cool structures from the past that have really notable purposes that you guys might not know about. So we'll be talking about a lot of those and kind of seeing where they would go or where they went in time, what they caused, and how that kind of affected going into the future. More than just, oh, hey, let's build this. It looks really freaking cool. I mean, yes, they're all hopefully going to look really freaking cool because I consider myself a fairly decent builder. Not the best by far, but I really enjoy to build, and I think we have a cool sense of like architectural style on this channel. So I really hope to kind of build that and be able to teach and do a lot of cool stuff like that. I know we're doing a lot of talking while we're kind of here putting in the palette on the first level of the Great Pyramid, but I figured this was the best way to catch up with you guys. I can kind of just work here in the background. You guys can have something to look at while we talk about kind of where everything's going and kind of what's up with that. That top level, the reason why we're not touching it, that's all stairs, just so you guys know. And a lot of what I really want to be moving towards, like I was saying, was that kind of that coaching atmosphere that I used to have when I was working with a lot of people and moving towards being family friendly. That being said, kind of going more into that, those two coming together. And that series I was talking about where we're hopefully going to be building some cool things from the past. The one caveat to that is I know there's a lot of people who consider family friendly to be like safe space things where they don't talk about things that might perturb them or quote trigger them or whatever it is that you guys want to call that nowadays. But there's a lot of things to be learned from talking about those ancient civilizations that might have done things that weren't that legit. Like, for example, a lot of like the old, like, I don't know what to, courthouses, for example, type things would use a lot of torture methods and things like that underneath the courthouse. But I think to get a proper idea of what we're looking at here and really what that civilization did to like get its people to do what it wanted and how it affected where the world went, we kind of have to be talking about that. So there might be a few topics on here that aren't necessarily like everything is super totally family friendly, but all in all, the ideals behind the server and as far as the intent of the, or not server, sorry, the intent of the channel is to be family friendly. Some topics will be a little iffy, like I was saying, because we'll be basically trying to teach and explain of why things happen, but I think we'll be able to do it in a way that hopefully doesn't really set people off, more or less. So if I'm trying to go on a thin line here, more or less. So it's going to be tough to trying to figure out where we want to go with that. But that is kind of where that series is going to be going. It's pretty cool idea. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. I love to build and I love to build random things. And it gives us a great opportunity to more or less take a break from what we're building. Where did all my hardened or just regular terracotta go? There we go. But it gives us a chance to take a break from what we're building in, like, say, this series or other series that we'll have going on later on, and things like just different ways of being able to move around and get some new fresh ideas in here. I think for now that series is probably only going to be coming up once, maybe twice a month, just until I can figure out how we want to build them and do things properly, because I don't want to rush into that one and really screw it up. I feel like there's a lot of series that I've tried starting up and I've just kind of not done it the proper way, and it's come back to bite me and the series hasn't worked out too well. And I know this series, for example, right here, there's a lot of trial and error going on with a lot of these videos, so I really hope you guys are actually enjoying them and are okay with sticking it through here with me while we kind of get through the muck of actually starting up a channel and really trying to move it from, ooh, it's time to sleep. Really trying to move it from some stupid little hobby into an actual YouTube channel that people like to enjoy watching and actually go and check out, because that's my goal here. This is my way of relaxing, so it's kind of stuff I do for fun, but I really like the idea of interacting with people and working with other people, and I love playing video games, and this way for me is a way of bringing those two things together. So that's why the channel started originally, and that's really what I'm trying to move it towards, to have it be a lot better at what we're trying to do. Okay, now that we've been blabbing on for almost 9 minutes, let's talk about what series we have currently and where they're going to be going and what we still have to look forward to and kind of future and what might be disappearing and what kind of where things are going. For the health of the channel, I really enjoy doing this series right here, Building with Whip, and this was one that kind of has been turned into my baby, more or less, that I really want it to continue, and I'm going to try really hard to keep this one going. That looks really bad. But this is a series that I really see the channel moving on with and going with steadily throughout the future, because this is kind of where I can just kind of come and chill and play some Minecraft and just do some random building and work on some different stuff and come back to every now and then. And if we take a break from it to focus on other series, that's fine too. But it's something that I'm always going to have here kind of to be able to relate to and come back. I'm really sorry about the siren in the background. Problem with living on a busy street. But yeah, so this series is staying for sure. Other ones that I know are probably big ticket items that you guys want me to be touching on would have to be, that looks kind of weird. I just want to have a very occasional red ones in here. The Duconia series, that was kind of the first series that I started that kind of brought a lot of you guys to this channel, I'm sure, originally, because that's the one that we were doing 2 episodes a week of for quite some time. So that series, I want to keep it going, and I want to try at least 1 episode a week right now, as I said previously in a few different videos. overall, I see that going on to being, we're almost at episode 50 right now in that, and I can see us moving on to roughly 75 episodes in total on that series, just because it's just kind of Conquest itself. I love what it can do, but as far as for running a YouTube channel and trying to create that channel environment that people really want to come and hang out with, Ghostblock, and stop by and consistently view, Conquest really isn't a great medium for that, because not many computers can actually run Conquest itself. So a lot of people see that type of stuff and they just kind of move on instead of stopping by and seeing what's up, and they just kind of go, oh, that's a cool build, okay, bye. That's what I really want to start avoiding, is because right now on the channel we have a lot of subscribers coming in and out. They'll come, subscribe, stop by, leave a comment on a video, and then they unsubscribe like later in the week. Granted, we are at almost 470 subs right now on the channel when this video is going to be going out, which is really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. We're out of the dark one, that sucks. I think I have some more back in the base though. But the retention rate and the viewership from non-subs is, on all the videos, non-subs view like 40% of the video. And then, so like there's a lot of non-subscribers who are viewing the videos, and then that retention of actually getting them to subscribe isn't really there. And I know there's a lot of things I can improve on as far as content creation, quality of videos, quality just in general, continuing to improve content and things like that. But that's all what I'm learning over time. The big things that I've kind of seen and actually have gotten comments for from people is that Conquest is something that looks really cool, but it's not so much what they want to be seeing on YouTube because they themselves can't build with it. I've been kind of going through the comments of, I don't have any more, that sucks. But I've been going through the comments of a lot of other channels and just kind of catching up with what they have. Maybe we can use concrete powder too. That would be kind of cool to come back. I'll have to test that later. But a lot of people in other channels are saying like even using small little texture packs, like when BOO, for example, turned his jungle wood from the pink tones to the green tones to make it fit more in a jungle like it probably should. He actually got a lot of negative feedback from quite a lot of people in his channel saying that they couldn't follow on anymore because they themselves couldn't use those texture packs, and people who watch YouTubers commonly really enjoy playing along with them, which, you know, that kind of makes sense. That's kind of why you do the whole YouTube. We don't have any more of this, do we? We don't. All right, well, that's going to have to do it for this section where we get all that stuff. I guess, yeah, I need to go to the Mesa and get some more. But continue on what we were talking about regarding the Conquest texture pack. I know we're talking about the series, but this is all relevant stuff here. I really think so. This is actually going to look really cool once it's finished. I have a really cool idea for it. It's going to be much, much taller. It's going to be taller than that mountain for sure. But yeah, so Conquest is something that people can't really follow along with because they can't really use it because it's so much. Let's just go walk around and see what we can see. There's just so much to it. There's so much intensity behind it. You can make some really cool things, even with like Conquest Reforged. You can make some really awesome stuff. But all in all, like, not everybody can use it. I think it's like 10% of the Minecraft community can run Conquest. So that's only being able to tap into 10% of the viewers who would be watching YouTube videos. Added a few armor stands and things here into the blacksmith, and I think it looks really cool. We got our anvil there, and we got an extra one right there. Still had to unlight that thing just because it keeps lighting the roof on fire, so we're going to leave it there. But so that's kind of what we're doing. We're going to be taking a break from Conquest things besides one episode of Duconia a week because I really, really enjoy playing with all those guys over on Duconia. And I've tried really hard to keep going on there and making progress on my builds just to kind of keep the server up to date and going forwards. We're still paying for the server and everything. Thanks to Ducon for giving us a lot of funding for that. But going forwards with it, let's just start stacking up the next few floors, I guess. That's kind of something we can do. Duconia will be here. As far as Conquest Reforged, if you think about it, only 10% of the community has computers that are able to run Conquest. Granted, that statistic is probably very off. But if you think about that, Conquest Reforged is probably like 5 times more intensive than regular Conquest just in default Minecraft, even if you include shaders on that and no shaders in Reforged, just because there's so many more blocks. And that's a big problem that there's been consistently with developing those different styles, more or less, of kind of how it's going to work, really. Trying to think of how to say it properly, I guess. So let's go ahead and just kind of bring this all over. So Conquest in general, I think, is going to be kind of back burner for now on our channel as we move forward and try and broaden our viewership and really trying to tap into some other markets and things like that. Granted, I always love it, so we're always going to be going back to it time and time, like here and there, just to kind of see what's up. When there's new noticeable releases, we'll go mess around with some of the things, like when Rebellion stuff gets released in the next Reforged update, we'll probably revisit that and build some few small structures here and there, just to kind of have some fun with it. On Heatherport, that is. But yeah, so Heatherport and Duconia are our 2 Conquest series, and a lot of the map building we were doing was with Reforged blocks, but we can do this without it too if we want. Make some cool stuff just in vanilla terrain, that is possible too. Just with all these new concrete powders and things, you can get lots of really cool colors and stuff in there. So those things, Duconia and Heatherport, Duconia, we're going to keep up with 1 episode a week, most likely. That is my goal for as long as I can, as long as I still have time. But my priority definitely is stuff more in the vanilla lines, especially that new series I hope to be starting with the learning and things like that, where we're actually trying to teach here on the channel and show you guys different ways of building cool, notable structures in the past that you can't just, like, when you Google something like cool Minecraft structures on Google Images, those things probably wouldn't pop up, but we're going to try and build them and see if we can make some cool things, help you guys learn about them. And that series is going to be called Journeying Through Time. I think it's going to be really cool. We're going to be using this texture pack here for it, and we're going to be going forwards with it. And that's kind of all I have right now on it, mostly because I don't have any other plans for it yet. It's still in the works. It's got a lot of cool stuff too. I just got to polish the edges and kind of make all the effects in it, which take me forever to do. So we got to do that. As a lot of you guys have probably noticed though, the whole channel has changed as far as channel art and everything like that, but it's still me. It's still the same stuff. It's basically just a simple rebranding to really echo what has been here on the series. And I feel like the icon that we have now, it's still got to polish it up a little bit, I think. But overall, I'm much happier with it, and I think it looks a lot better, and it's much more personal than just the text saying whip. So I think this is much cooler, and it's something that we can really bring forward and move into the future with. Oh, I want that back, please. Yes, thank you. And I think it's just going to be really, really cool as we go forward with it. But yeah, so a lot of what we're going to be looking into is actually the purpose behind builds. I feel like in Minecraft, a lot of what people do is they just kind of build and make cool stuff, which is fine. Like, that's great. That's really, really cool. And some awesome creations are made out of it. There's some things that I would never even think of doing that have been built. And I really want to kind of move forwards with that and push it one level further, more or less, as we look into the purpose of why things are built, the purpose behind placing this structure here, placing it there. So I've been doing a lot of research on kind of the past, how cities were set up in ancient times, because in today's world, everything's set up in a grid pattern, more or less. Some sort of a grid pattern, or it's like a really old city like Boston. At least in regards to the US, that's mostly things are grid patterns. But say you go back to like Boston or something like that, and that city is just crazy. Nobody really can understand how to get around it, even if you're a local. So a lot of what we're going to be looking at is why things were set up the way they were, and kind of how that helps society move forward. And then a lot of what you're going to be seeing building wise on this guy, especially here, because for example, this thing's pretty much done for as far as we can take it right now. We just got to do stairs on that next layer and move it up another one. Over here, we have this smeltery right here. And this is originally probably in a very random position. There's no mine around it. There's nothing that you can really get ores from. Granted, maybe out of that ancient nether portal that we have over there. But this is more of the in the city smeltery. So a lot of goods in here would be trade goods that are brought into the region, like unfinished ores, or say like somebody has jewelry they want to smelt down back into like the liquid gold and create bars out of it to make a lot of money. Like that's some way peddlers could do it. That's the purpose of why this is here. And also it's right next to our blacksmith. So the blacksmith here is actually very closely connected with smeltery because they'd be trading materials back and forth almost constantly. So you can see the purpose behind this one being right next to this guy. Then right here, this house is mostly, there's not a whole lot behind it. It was really functional just for the chicken cooker, but we could turn it into some sort of inn or something like that just to create that interesting look to it. Or not an inn, but maybe like a little restaurant or something where they serve chicken. I don't know. But we have this enchanting room over here, which is going to be like a small library in the front and everything like that. And that's because the region around here is so heavily dependent on the sugarcane, like we talked about in last episode, that it's really going to allow us to move forward and create a lot of those small little book areas like nooks, paper mills, and things like of that nature that really are just here because of why the city was pretty much was put on the map, more or less. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about as far as the channel's going. But overall, I really want you guys to know that what I want you guys to get out of this is that we're going family friendly, and I hope to be able to teach you guys some fun, interesting, random facts along the way about old civilizations, because I really enjoy random facts. That's one of my favorite things about Minecraft, or just about learning in general, is be able to share random facts, and I just think they're really fun and entertaining. So why not share more and kind of continue that trend along? So if you guys have random things that you want us to look into, you want me to look into more of, let me know, all that kind of stuff. There was something in last video that I meant to talk about, and it was kind of where building with whip is going in general. So we talked about a lot of what we were doing just in general in regards to this city here, but we didn't really talk about what that leads to in the future. And we briefly mentioned it when we were talking about how the books are made, because in Minecraft, books are made through parchment or paper and leather. So you need leather in there in order to bind the book, more or less, in Minecraft. But that's not something that we're going to really focus on. We're not going to have a large cow farm here in the city. Granted, we'll keep that little functional one over there just purely to get leather while we're creating the city, because it'd be stupid if we didn't do that. We wouldn't be able to build any of the libraries or anything like that we really wanted. So that being said, every city that we develop in this world is going to have a purpose behind it and some material or some other random type of thing. I have a list right here written down off to the side that I can pull out of different types that I've been kind of envisioning. I have a little book I've been kind of going through, and that's where I've been getting a lot of ideas. Or not a book, I've been kind of keeping a journal as far as building with whip goes, and what it's kind of leading towards and where it's going. This is going to really bug me that we're going to constantly hear spiders and everything under here. But so right now we have Papyrus, right? Our Egyptian city that's really focused around reeds and sugarcane and books and developing all those different things, more or less. And then beyond that, I want to create a fishing city out on the coast. That's where we'll have like our ink farms and all that. Those things will probably move our our fishing, AFK fisher, sorry. We'll move our AFK fisher out to the coast there just to make it kind of make more sense to where it's located instead of just being randomly in the middle of a desert city. So just kind of stuff like that, but that'll be where we build our ink farm, and that's just kind of, I don't have any of the styles down for these guys yet, but I know the ink farm out by an ocean is not a great idea, so we'll build it inland just a little bit, but it'll probably have the item elevator going back to where the city actually is, so that's fine. And then beyond that, I've been thinking about a farming city, as well as a different one about animal breeding and ranching and things like of that nature, just because that's another, and I was not holding shift there. That's another way that we can kind of create more cities, because yeah, we can have one city that's just this giant farming region with animals everywhere, or we could have a city that's just these giant fields everywhere, and then some of their crops can be delivered to a neighboring village or smaller area. Maybe nomadic people that we kind of look like they're half settled into the region that are very focused around following like cattle and alpacas and llamas and whatever along the coast or along the mountains and things like that. So they actually are nomadic, and that's where a lot of the leathers and wools and things like that come from in regards to where we get goods in the world. And I really wanted to give me a purpose to go and travel between the cities, because one thing that I see a lot of that I've previously done in a lot of worlds that I've built like these, because I definitely had one a long time ago that I just built single player and only did things on myself, but I never visited my old cities. Like, I built all these really cool ones back at the time, but when I didn't know how to build it all, that I really, really enjoyed, but there was no reason to go back and visit them besides to look at them. So I'd always kind of forget they were there and randomly stumble upon them and be like, oh, that's cool. But that's something that I really want to enjoy, like, have reasons to go back and have the purpose behind the city, but also have them all be functional. So whatever thing we can think of that would be a reasoning for having some sort of resource intensive thing or something where we'd automatically generate resources, why not just build a city out of it? Like, why not just build some sort of town if we don't have a place where it really makes sense adding it in? So I think going forwards, we're really, really going to be pushing hard to try and do that type of stuff as we go forward with it, because I think that's something that can really bring a whole lot of immersion to this world, because we can create, like, in the middle of a giant spruce forest, like a taiga forest, whatever those are called, the redwood trees, the 2x2 spruce saplings that would create those giant trees. Why not build like a lumber camp inside them, and then underground we create a very functional, probably not that nice looking area for planting and chopping down trees. So if we ever need to mass cut down, say like jungle or oak trees because we need a bunch of fences for a project, we can go visit that city and cut them all down. Granted, traveling will probably be all through the Nether Hub, but we'll set up roads and things kind of connecting all of them. That's mostly what I wanted to talk about in regards to that type of thing, just kind of creating that functional world where everything really makes sense and for the purpose of it being here. And we'll probably have to, like, say, remake a village or like the Minecraft certificate villages, because we're going to need some way. Oh, that is very dark down here. We're going to need some way to breed villagers, so we might as well use that as a time to go ahead and remake a village in order to have it as something that spider right in there. In order to have it as something that really kind of just makes sense for it existing. So we might as well just do things like that. It can be really fun to do. So why not? But guys, I've been ranting and talking for almost a half hour now. This video is getting very, very long. I do hope you all enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next episode.